Well, now we're going to kick off our first panel of the day, and that it will be led by Julie Hindall, Director of Workforce Development here at JAXUSA Partnership. So Julie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Anna. It is certainly my pleasure to facilitate our first panel of the day on financial services. And joining me, we have three phenomenal professionals in this field. We have Jerri Waggett-Smith. Jerri's the team leader for Fidelity Investments, Portfolio Advisory Services. And she currently leads a team of general securities sales supervisors that monitor risk and provide service support to clients. We also have Rob Carter. Rob has been instrumental in ensuring that today's event goes smoothly. He's a talent champion for Fidelity Investments, where he's responsible for recruiting and hiring talent for the Jacksonville Regional Center. And joining us from New Res is Elisa Morgado. She's the Director of Recruiting. She's also been instrumental in her organization with developing and implementing recruiting programs for the most critical positions in executive management. So welcome to the three of our panelists today. Certainly excited to have you on board for today's discussion. All right, so to kick off our discussion today, I'd like Rob to begin sharing some information about his career pathway. Rob.
Thanks, Julie and Anna and the rest of the team here at JAXUSA Partnership. We're thankful for the opportunity. My career pathway has been an intriguing one. So if anyone's like me, when they chose their college major, they chose what they were really interested in, not necessarily the job that they wanted to do. So I started to go to school for meteorology thinking, I love weather. Quickly realized that I'm more of a people person than all of the science behind the scenes. So I actually got into the workforce focused on helping people. I started in a variety of customer service and sales jobs, and that passion for helping people is ultimately what led me to Fidelity Investments. I've been with the firm for 14 and a half years. I started in our entry-level customer service role. I didn't have that financial experience to start out. Fidelity really helped give me that experience. I spent the first half of my career really engaged directly interacting with our customers, helping provide solutions and solve problems for them, helping educate them on the information that's critical for their success as they try to achieve their hopes and dreams. I quickly realized that that passion I have for helping people, I could really find a way to magnify that. And I got into leadership, and that's really where I spent the back half of my career, is coaching and developing our employees who interact with our customers each and every day, so that we can continue to deliver amazing experiences. And then after doing that for about 8 years, I moved into my current role as a talent champion, where I'm privileged to get out in the community, help recruit and find great talent to bring into the Fidelity Investments team. I'm responsible for interviews and ensuring that the talent that we bring in is the right talent to be able to provide the services that our customers have come to know and expect from Fidelity Investments. Jerri?
That's amazing. What a transition from weather to people, right? So that's a great story, Rob. Thank you so much. Jerri, why don't you share a little bit about your career pathway this morning?
Thanks, Julie. Thank you so much. And it's great to be here. It's great to be here talking with all of you today about really a fabulous industry for a career. So Julie, my career in financial services really began while I was in college at the University of North Florida. I took a position with a credit card servicing company. And there I worked primarily to support customers in a customer service role. But I got to learn a tremendous amount about how credit cards work, what credit card agreements mean. And it was really my first introduction to that level of information about finance in my life. When I graduated from the University of North Florida, I was ready to look for something else and knew at that point I wanted to build on that financial services experience that I gained. So I went and worked for a mortgage servicing company here in the Jacksonville area. And so I got to learn about mortgages and mortgage agreements. And there also, I was supporting clients, working with them, helping them to understand their mortgages and navigate that really important part of the American dream. In about 2006, that my role with the mortgage company actually moved on to another state, and I was not ready to leave Jacksonville. So I actually had a chance at that point in my life to step back and really seek out a company that was going to align with my values and what was important to me. I knew I wanted to continue in the financial services industry because that was fascinating to me, and I wanted to build on what I had learned. And I found Fidelity Investments. And so I've been with Fidelity Investments now for about 14 years as well. Like Rob, I started at Fidelity Investments new to this part of the industry. And so I got a chance to work with our clients directly for the first several years, helping them navigate their investments and their financial goals. And then in the latter half of my career, I've also been in leadership roles where primarily my responsibilities are to coach and develop the financial professionals around me to really ensure that we are delivering just exceptional experiences for our customers.
That's fantastic. And again, the focus on people, developing those leadership skills and supporting the people in your organization to ensure that they meet your values. That's fantastic. We also have joining us from NewRez, we have Elisa Morgado. And Elisa, why don't you share with us a little bit of information about NewRez as well as your career pathway?
Yeah, of course. So with NewRez, we are a leading nationwide mortgage lender and servicer. We started off in 2008 and we're headquartered in Fort Washington, PA. We do have over 130 locations nationwide with over 5,000 employees. Some of that was organic and also through acquisition. So it has been a very exciting 2 years for us, for sure. I think we've hired over like 1,500 employees within 2020. So it's been really exciting. Myself, I actually have a background in kinesiology, exercise science. So I started off thinking I wanted to be in the healthcare industry. Turns out I got into recruiting and the rest is kind of history. It all just progressed from there. This is my first experience within the financial industry. So I've been with NewRez for the past 3 years, and I find that the financial industry is very exciting, much more exciting than previous industries I've worked in. And it also allows a lot of opportunity just for an individual to grow and develop out their career set.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Again, other big transitions career-wise, but certainly you guys have all found your fit and your niche. That's excellent. So again, thank you for joining us. We're going to go into our next question, and this is something that the folks on the line really want to know more about. What is the job that you hire for most frequently? And can students engage in these jobs right after high school? If not, what kind of training do they need? So Jerri, if you could begin responding to that question.
Yeah, Julie, thank you. It's a great question. So the job that we most frequently hire for are client-facing positions. In fact, about half of our employees company-wide are in client-facing positions. And those can range from financial advisors and licensed representatives to unlicensed customer service positions. Students can engage in some of these roles directly out of high school. One of the things that is key that we are looking for in these client-facing positions are people who have experience in the retail or service or hospitality industry where they have developed and grown customer service skills, know how to build relationships with people. And so certainly, coming out of high school, people might have that kind of experience that we really value.
Excellent. Elisa, what about NewRez?
Yeah, so with NewRez, the position we most frequently hire for would be our junior mortgage consultant role, which is an entry-level sales position offering unlimited opportunity in terms of income and career growth. We provide a role-based training where we develop out your skill set to be a successful mortgage consultant. So this is an opportunity that students can engage in right outside of high school. We are looking for that customer service aspect, but we also find that a lot of these candidates or employees that do well, they have like a very competitive nature. So they typically have played sports or have had other extracurricular activities, which kind of drive that that want to do well or need to be successful. In addition to the junior mortgage consultant role, we also hire for junior processors. This position, it does require an associate's degree, but it would be an opportunity where we provide, again, role-based training to make sure that you have a successful career as a mortgage processor. And all of these roles, like you're fast-tracked into the mortgage processor or the mortgage consultant position within 6 to 9 months. So we're not talking like 1 to 2 years. It's a quick transition, again, provided by our role-based training.
Excellent. So some various opportunities for our students. Rob, what are your thoughts on this question?
Thanks, Julie. So Jerri talked high level about the wide variety of opportunities that we have. If I think about Jacksonville specifically, the job that we hire for most frequently, it's called our customer relationship advocate role. That is where a majority of our folks enter the organization. It is our entry-level customer service role. It's where we really teach you the financial industry. It's where we teach you what Fidelity Investments is all about and give you that access to begin making an impact on customers and what they're trying to achieve. While you technically don't need a college degree, you could come in straight out of high school. Ultimately, it's that customer service, retail, hospitality type experience that we're looking for. We can teach you a lot of the financial concepts, but we are hopeful that you can come in with a strong understanding of those customer service skills. We do have some other positions that we're hiring for in the region that Jerri mentioned, financial advisors, things of that nature. For roles of that structure, we are looking for a little bit more expertise, maybe some experience in the industry, some licenses may come into play. But for our overwhelming majority, it's our entry-level roles. The licenses aren't required. We help you obtain those. But we get you into the industry and really help you understand what financial services are really all about.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That provides some great insight for us. Is there a particular education path that you look for in prospective hires? Maybe what are some of the most valuable credentials that you would require or like to see for these roles in which you hire most frequently? And Elisa, would you kind of address that question for us?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So we find that candidates who are most successful at New Res are those who have interest in pursuing a future within finance or business. We find that they have valuable credentials include like strong communication skills, attention to detail, and the ability to work independently in fast-paced environments. Obviously, there are candidates who come in who don't have the desire to be in finance and business that are very successful as well. But the candidate pool, typically they start looking at mortgage companies if they are interested in those areas. So the majors or degrees that we've seen, new hires come in with are typically like business, finance, accounting, or communications. We also see some people like myself who have a healthcare background, just kind of looking to transition. So overall, I think we kind of cast a wide net, but we do see more of the finance business candidates.
Great.
Thank you.
you. Jerri.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. In my time with Fidelity, I've seen such a tremendous diversity in the educational paths of people that we've brought on to Fidelity. Really a variety of traditional and non-traditional education paths can be relevant and valuable in the financial industry. So currently, Julie, I do most of my hiring internally for Fidelity, looking for certain expertise. But when I think about educational path, whatever that might look like, I'm interested in why did that person choose that path? What did they get from the path that they chose? How are they using that education? That often gives me kind of insight on how it could apply in the roles that we are offering.
That's excellent. Offers a lot of opportunity for transferable skills. Great. And Rob, what are your thoughts?
Thanks, Julie. So to piggyback on Jerri, right, we look for a diverse set of experiences and majors. We've got folks from art history. We have folks who've spent time in the music industry and they have maybe a jazz degree. We have probably half of our workforce does have that financial or business background from schooling. But ultimately, what we're looking for is that diversity to really help us get some of the best thoughts in the room, really challenge us to think differently than what your typical finance person might think. So we really cast that wide net, searching for diversity in background, educational experiences, so that we can really drive better outcomes for customers. In terms of valuable credentials, if somebody already is licensed, many of our roles have licensing requirements, the Series 7, the Series 63, 66, certified financial planner designations. Those are all extremely valuable. And if you have them already, great. We would love to expand on that skill set, but they're certainly not required for many of the roles that we start with. We help you build and develop into that.
That's excellent. So people can come to the table with a basic set of skills, experiences, and education, and they can build upon it in this industry, which I think is great for all of us to be aware of. Moving on to our next question. How can educators, parents, those of us that have touch points with individuals entering the workforce, how do we best explain the finance industry to these individuals in a way that's appealing to them and perhaps breaks those preconceived notions of what the financial service industry is like? And to kick us off with a response, Rob.
Thanks, Julie. So about half of the people that I interview every day, when I ask them, what is it about finance that has you interested? I generally hear one of two answers from that half of folks. One, hey, I actually didn't learn about any of this, and I need to know it. And so I'm intrigued to get it for my kind of own personal benefit. The other half, I hear, hey, I heard a little bit, and the more I dig in, the more interested I become. So honestly, I think the best thing to do is just start early and start talking about some of the financial concepts that everyone is going to encounter at some point in their life. For us at Fidelity Investments, one of the things that we've learned is we can't just wait and try to grab somebody from a university, right? They've already started to figure out and formulate what they want to do when they grow up. So for us, we've learned that we need to get to talent pools earlier. We need to make those connections and help them understand the breadth of the industry. And I think any little way that we can bring those real life financial topics to life for any of the students, whether it's you just bought a brand new car and how the financing worked out, or I'm saving up to buy a home and maybe talking about just how something simple as a mortgage works. I think that's the key, is really help them understand that financial services is not necessarily just what you see on TV, but there are so many different things that you can do in the industry. And here's how it touches all of us every day.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Elisa, how would you explain it?
Yeah, I would have to say I definitely agree with Rob with trying to bring more exposure to having, just individuals understand that the financial industry is much more than just this preconceived notion of something that I should know. It is more tangible, right? Like people can understand what a mortgage is and how it applies to them and how your credit applies to your future goals. So for the way I would say the industry, like for me, I think it's very exciting because it's both fast paced and ever evolving. It provides such a secure and you can have like a long career within the mortgage industry, And it also allows like a lot of job growth. Like some people think that, you go into this industry in one role and that's it. But the biggest thing for New Res, and I'm sure with other companies as well, is if you have one opportunity, like let's say you come in as a junior processor, we provide you the skills and the foundation to then fast track your career into a mortgage underwriter. So once you're in the industry, you're uncapped. You can go in any direction. It's just about having that drive and wanting to learn more about different areas.
Fantastic. Very good. There's opportunity to change, evolve, and expand, which I think is important to those coming up in our workforce. Jerri, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Julie, this is a great question. And I actually get this question. I've gotten this question a lot. I've got 3 children, 2 of them are college age. And so their friends and are always asking me, right? Because they're trying to make those decisions. And what I tell them, Julie, is that the financial industry, the finance industry really is about people's hopes and dreams. It's really not about the dollars. These are people's hopes and dreams. And our roles, no matter what part you are within the financial industry, is to help understand what's important to the people that you're working with, the clients that you're serving, help understand what their definition of success is for their life, and help them partner with them to plan to accomplish that success. So it might feel high level, but it's really, truly what I feel like I've seen my time in the industry.
And I think that speaks so beautifully to what we know our up and coming workforce wants, and they want to have a deeper meaning in their job. They just don't want to go clock in and clock out. They want it to mean something. They want to make a meaningful contribution to their community. So I think you are speaking their language by sharing it and framing it in this way. And I think that's really helpful for all of us. So thank you all for your responses to that question. When you're trying to explain to students or those considering maybe a career change, the finance industry, and they say, well, I'm kind of interested in the stock market, or I'm interested in sales, but I don't like math. Math makes me nervous. So how would we be able to address this and provide encouragement in spite of maybe that resistance or concern? So Elisa, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I would have to say I agree with them. I don't personally like math either. But, while math is an important factor in these roles, all of these skills can be learned and perfected by on-the-job training and experience. So it's not something where we expect them to come in and, be able to calculate income in their head. They have the resources, they have the tools, that it's all provided to them. The biggest thing is just having that strong communication skills, and also like wanting to build relationships with, our borrowers or fellow employees, just so that you can actually gain the information you need to be successful in your role.
Excellent. Jerri.
Yeah, this is another great question. It's really not about the math. It's really all about people, is what I would tell them. There is technology that's going to help to support the complicated math, but it's really, this industry is all about people. And so having an interest in the stock market and how money works, I think is important. So if you have that interest, then that's the key. And then from there, really learning how to communicate and understand people is what really will help you flourish in this industry.
Well said. And Rob.
I think what's important for most people to realize is work to your strengths. If math is your thing, there are plenty of jobs in the finance industry that math can be your focus. If math is not your thing, there are plenty of other opportunities. Focus on people, to Jerri's point, right? That's ultimately what many folks in the industry do. Should you have a decent understanding of math? Yeah, the basics, right? but most jobs provide you the training for the complicated portion of the job. There are plenty of people in this industry that are successful that don't have, math degrees or even the finance degrees. You met Stacy earlier. So Stacy Banner, she leads 1,400 people probably across the state of Florida. Think about that for a second. So she's got a pretty wide responsibility there. Surely she's got a finance degree or math, right? She actually went to school for English and language arts. She wanted to be a teacher. So like, you can be successful in this industry, whether math is your thing or not. Find what you're good at, find out what you're passionate about, and go focus on that part of the industry. There's so much that you can do.
So well said, everyone. And I think that really helps equip us to best communicate with our students on why there are great areas for each of them to get into within this industry based on their areas of strength and passion. So with that in mind, if we're plugging people in correctly into this industry, we're going to see some great success. And as a result, you're going to have top performers in this industry. Based on your experience, what are some characteristics of top performers in your industry? And Rob, we're going to have you address that question first.
Thanks, Julie. So in my experience, some of the characteristics, regardless of the role that you're doing, a top performer generally is going to have a few common characteristics. One, somebody who's driven and motivated to continuously learn, but to continuously improve. The way that you go about doing things today, technology is going to change, business needs are going to change, customer demands are going to change. You're going to have to change with that. And so you always have to be continuously improving, and you've got to be okay with change. In this industry, the only constant is change. It's going to change the way we go about doing things. I think the other thing is you should have a really good attitude and be super coachable. There are plenty of great leaders in this industry that you're going to need to learn from, and you've got to be open to those messages. Sometimes those messages are really easy to understand and easy to implement. Other times, maybe not so much. And you have to be creative in how you take that feedback and then go work on it. So I think if you look at some of the key performers, they're always hungry, they're always evolving, and they're totally open to feedback and coaching, as well as having that positive attitude.
Excellent. Elisa, what are some characteristics that you have seen in top performers at New Res?
Yeah, I feel like Rob took the words right out of my mouth. So the typical characteristics we see are very similar to what Rob just stated, but having that intrinsic motivation with a desire to learn, great communication skills, and a very competitive, hardworking nature. Depending upon sales or operations, typically in sales we do see candidates who are extremely confident and could talk circles around all of us, which is wonderful considering the fact that they're on the phones all day long. And then for operations too, like we see individuals who more prefer to be behind the scenes, put their head down, kind of like get work done in an independent way. So overall, the skills are, the standard. The top three are standard within both areas, but I would say depending upon which path you choose, there are certain things that might touch upon your personality a little bit better.
Great, and allow you to work within your strengths.
Exactly.
Jerri.
Yeah, I think a lot has been touched on. I think what I would add is high emotional intelligence. Having really strong self-awareness. I mean, we heard that in some of in Rob and Elisa's answers, being able to self-reflect and manage your own emotions, but also, and almost even more importantly, navigate other people's emotions and be able to be empathetic. This is people's hopes and dreams, like I talked about earlier. These can be very emotional jobs for ourselves and for our clients. I also think, and I mentioned this earlier as well, like having a passion for the industry and having a passion for the industry. having a true interest in how money works and how you can make it work for yourself and help it make it work for others, I think I've also seen in really top performers.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So what skills would the three of you like to see more of when you're looking at prospective employees? What skills would you like them to demonstrate specifically? Elisa, would you like to kick us off with that question?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So I think the specific, or what we find is that the specific skill set needed for each position can be learned. So really what we're looking for are candidates who've gathered transferable skills through life experiences, who are really motivated to transfer that into a successful career. So when I say life experiences, I just mean having their first job at like a pizzeria and understanding how to manage high volume environments, or communicating with your teachers through Zoom because now that's the new platform. Like just kind of understanding that things change and, you can adapt. I think that's the biggest thing that we are looking for. And I think that also makes the mortgage industry unique because no matter what you have like in your background, we will have a place for you and you can do well within this environment. So it really comes down to the attitude of an individual.
Excellent. Attitude determines altitude. How many people
Very
have
true.
heard that? That's an old one from way back.
It's true.
All those inspirational posters. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Thanks, Julie. So I think especially the environment that we're in today, right? Think COVID, where most people are working from home. So I think some skills that maybe you wouldn't have normally expected come to mind. Organization, ability to communicate effectively, like through a remote organization. That kind of stuff definitely comes to mind as we're working to revolutionize our onboarding experience. Neil touched on that earlier in terms of the dedication and focus we have there. But that doesn't mean it's automatically easy for everybody. So working remote and not seeing folks in the office every day, you definitely have to be able to be on top of what you need to get accomplished today. You need to know what your tasks are and where your progress is. And so simple things like organization skills are going to become even more important. I think the other is just the continuous work on communication skills. We're in a society right now where a lot of things happen electronically, right? Text messaging, things of that nature. And that doesn't always translate really well into people-to-people communication. And so more work on improving our communication with each other is certainly a skill that would be something to focus on.
That's excellent. And that goes back to what Jerri was saying too about the ability to self-reflect. It's definitely fundamental to do those things, particularly in this remote environment where you're not having a chance to just walk next door to somebody and say, hey, I think maybe that email I sent came across incorrectly. It's a different way of working. So I'm glad that you touched on that as well, Rob. Our final question for our panelists this morning: how has the financial services industry changed over the last decade? We know change is a constant. And what additional changes are you anticipating in the next 1 to 5 years? And my guess is COVID has definitely provided a structure by which you're approaching things. So Jerri, you're going to lead us on this question.
Yeah, another great question. I've been in the industry for the last decade, and I feel like the digital revolution that has continued to accelerate and continues to accelerate across really all industries. In the financial services industry, it really, that has really impacted how we engage with clients. Clients don't necessarily want to come into an office anymore. They want to communicate digitally. They may want to communicate virtually. So developing our technology and our processes so we can engage our clients the way they want to be engaged, where they are, leveraging technology, I think has been a huge evolution over the last, and will continue in the future for us.
Well said. Elisa.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what Jerri just said. So obviously within the past 10 years, the improvements we've been able to make with technology has changed the landscape of what we're able to do, which has been really beneficial for us, especially for our sales individuals. So what we expect is that as we continue to progress, technology will continue to improve our process across the board, which will better improve our business model as well as our efficiency.
Excellent. And Rob, last response of our
Thanks,
panel
Julie.
this morning.
Thanks, Julie. So we talked about the technology revolution, right? Jerri touched on that. I think the other thing that has changed over the last decade or so, and I think will continue to change, customer demands. Previously, generic responses, generic portfolios, generic recommendations might have passed. Customer demands now are, I want it to be personalized to me, and I want it quicker. I like the days of spending months to develop a program or a feature on your website to get it just perfect and get it out there. In today's technology revolution, like that just doesn't work. The customer wants it now. If you don't have it, they will go find it somewhere else. And so you have to be nimble as an organization to be able to anticipate those needs. But when you don't anticipate them and the customer addresses them, you got to dive in and you got to find a solution and get something out there that will help them with whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. And then you can iterate and improve upon it over time, but you can no longer wait for the perfect product. That just doesn't work in today's time. So I think customer demands are just going to continue to get more me focused, right? Personalized. I want it to be unique to my situation, and I'm going to want it faster.
I think that's the Amazon effect being demonstrated here in the financial services industry as well. And that's why I think what you've shared this morning is so important, that individuals need those communication skills. They need to have an interest in people and providing products and services that will really be customized and be nimble, as you said, to address customer concerns. So you all three of you have shared some excellent information with our participants this morning. I certainly appreciate the insight that you've shared. I'm not seeing any particular questions in the chat that we could also use to address with our panelists this morning. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand it back over to Anna. We're going to take a brief intermission.
Thank you all so much. That was such wonderful insights into all of your organizations. We truly appreciate you joining us today. And so we know that this is valuable information that all our educators will be able to share with the students that they're working with.